The sun was setting over the quiet suburban street, casting golden light on a small, cluttered mechanic shop. Jake, a humble mechanic with grease-stained hands and a heart bigger than his worn-out toolbox, wiped sweat from his brow. Business had been slow all week, and the bills on his counter seemed to grow taller every day. Just as he was about to close, he heard soft sobbing outside. Peeking out, he saw a little girl clutching a broken bike, her tears sparkling in the fading sunlight. "Can you fix it?" she asked timidly, her voice barely a whisper. Jake knelt beside her, examining the twisted chain and bent wheel. "Don't worry, I'll make it right again," he said with a gentle smile. Without a second thought, he worked tirelessly, ignoring the clock and the unpaid bills piling up. When the bike finally rolled smoothly, the girl's face lit up like the sun itself. "Thank you, mister," she exclaimed, hugging him tight. Little did Jake know, someone had been watching, her mother, a successful businesswoman from the city. She had come to the neighborhood to surprise her daughter with a weekend visit. Witnessing Jake's selflessness, she was deeply moved. That simple act of kindness, done without expectation, had caught the eye of someone who could change his life forever. Jake waved as the girl pedaled away, little knowing that this ordinary evening would mark the beginning of extraordinary opportunities. In that moment, he realized that sometimes, helping others is the most powerful way to change your own life. The next morning, Jake opened his shop, expecting the usual quiet hum of an empty street. Instead, a sleek black car rolled up, and out stepped the woman he had noticed the night before. She introduced herself as Eleanor, the mother of the little girl whose bike he had fixed. Her presence made Jake uneasy, he was used to being unnoticed. "I saw what you did for Emma yesterday," Eleanor began, her voice both warm and commanding. "That kind of kindness doesn't go unnoticed." She handed him a card, and Jake's brow furrowed as he read the words, an invitation to meet her at her office downtown. "I want to discuss a potential partnership," she said, smiling. Jake left the shop that morning with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. The bustling city felt overwhelming, far removed from the quiet streets he'd always known. At Eleanor's office, she showed him a plan, a community program aimed at teaching underprivileged children basic mechanics and life skills. "We want someone with your talent and heart," she explained. "You could run this program and inspire countless kids." For the first time in years, Jake felt seen. He realized that the simple decision to help a child without expecting anything in return had opened a door he never imagined. The opportunity wasn't just about money or recognition, it was about impact, about passing on hope and knowledge. When he left the office that afternoon, Jake walked through the streets with a new sense of purpose. His little shop, once a place of struggle, now felt like a seed for something much bigger. And in his chest, a quiet joy grew, a reminder that genuine kindness has a way of coming back to you in the most unexpected forms. Over the next few weeks, Jake threw himself into the community program. His small mechanic shop transformed into a vibrant hub of learning and laughter. Kids who had never touched a wrench before now tinkered with engines, fixed bicycles, and discovered a sense of pride in their work. Jake's hands were always greasy, but his heart felt lighter than it had in years. One rainy afternoon, as Jake showed a young boy how to adjust a bike chain, a voice interrupted. "Jake, can I have a word?" Eleanor's assistant had arrived with news. A local charity foundation wanted to feature Jake in a nationwide campaign. Suddenly, his small, unnoticed life was on the brink of public recognition. Despite the excitement, doubt crept in. Jake had never sought fame or wealth, he only wanted to help. Could he handle the spotlight? Could he trust that this attention wouldn't change who he was? That evening, sitting alone in his shop, Jake reflected on the night he fixed the little girl's bike. The joy in her eyes, the hug she gave him, it had all started with a simple act of selflessness. And now, all of this opportunity had come from that moment. The realization hit him like a lightning bolt. Sometimes, life rewards genuine kindness in ways you cannot predict. Recognition wasn't the goal, making a difference was. And yet, he felt a quiet excitement knowing he could inspire more children, give them skills and confidence, and perhaps change the trajectory of their lives. As the rain pattered softly on the roof, Jake made a decision. He would step into the spotlight not for himself, but for every child who deserved a chance to learn, to grow, and to believe that someone in the world cared enough to help. Months passed, and Jake's community program flourished. Children who once wandered the streets now built confidence alongside the bikes and engines he taught them to fix. Word spread, and soon local news covered his efforts. Yet, Jake remained humble, always reminding himself that it all began with a little girl and a broken bike. One sunny afternoon, as Jake was helping a group of kids polish their bicycles, Eleanor arrived with a small envelope. Inside was a letter from the Charity Foundation, inviting Jake to a national award ceremony honoring acts of selflessness. For a moment, he hesitated, feeling the familiar tug of self-doubt. But the faces of the children he had mentored, their bright smiles and proud laughter, gave him courage. At the ceremony, Jake stood on stage in front of hundreds of people, a simple mechanic in worn overalls, holding a trophy he never imagined he would receive. As cameras flashed, he looked out into the crowd and spotted the little girl who had started it all, Emma, now beaming with pride. Tears welled in his eyes as he realized the ripple effect of one small act. Fixing a bike for free had sparked a movement of hope, learning, and kindness that no money could buy. When he returned home that evening, Jake's shop felt warmer, fuller, not because of recognition or awards, but because he understood something profound. Life's true wealth comes from compassion, from giving without expecting, and from believing that even the smallest gestures can create monumental change. Jake leaned back in his chair, hands still a little greasy, heart full, and whispered to himself, "I didn't just fix a bike. I changed lives, including my own." And in that quiet moment, he knew the world was better for one simple choice, made with a kind and selfless heart.